The South African Communist Party has urged President Cyril Ramaphosa to appoint his cabinet urgently. The alliance partner has accused the Democratic Alliance of positioning itself against the government of national unity. It has hit out at the DA following a leaked letter revealing the party's cabinet demands. The DA wants its members to hold at least 12 ministerial posts. Let's now have the conversation with Soli Mapaila, who is the General Secretary of the SACP. Soli, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. So the SACP had initially said that it is opposed to the ANC working with the Democratic Alliance. The Democratic Alliance is now part of the Government of National Unity as part of the founding members. Have you given up on this battle?
Good morning, Adrian, and to our viewers. Firstly, is that we have not given up on that particular battle, but we know that it's water under the bridge on the basis that consequent to our discussion, the ANC NEC resolved to embrace all parties and set up a government of national unity. But part of the things we avoided with that proposition from our side was this reality that there are those who do not believe in this concept of government of national unity or even see what it means. But partly because the DA itself and its historic legacy as a party that inherited the racist apartheid regime continues with a concept of whiteism that sees have a sense of superiority complex over black leadership. And they use this opportunity to create an impression that only they can resolve problems in our country, when actually in the areas where they're already governing, they failed, particularly African population, black populations in general, but they create themselves as the immediate solution to our crisis, which is the campaign that they embarked on to remove the ANC from political office. So they bring the status quo or even huge reversals to any of the gains of the revolution up to so far. So for us, there was certainly a no to party to work with, and we felt that this was an opportunity for the ANC to decouple with capital and shed any other obligations that they may have, whether from the negotiations period or any other period, so that we rebuild this country anew on the basis of the needs of the people of our country, majority of whom still remain poor and working class, which do not at any level represented by the DA.
Well, the SACP on the 4th of June issued a statement against the decision to go into an alliance, or rather to work in a coalition with the Democratic Alliance, and calling them neoliberal. And about 20 days later, the SACP seems to be accepting that the ANC will be working with the Democratic Alliance, or the Democratic Alliance will be involved in the government of national unity. Why has the SACP accepted this? And do you think that the SACP has lost its influence within the alliance?
No, the previous question is incorrect because we have never accepted this. I just explained to you, Adrian, from the beginning. It's a decision of the ANC. We are not the ANC. We are a component, part of the ANC as its ally, also because of the concept of dual membership. Some of our members belong to the ANC equally. So we rejected that. We still reject the proposition to work with the DA. But in the context of all parties coming together in the government of national unity, there's no basis to reject that because it's the government of national unity. But what we are exposing is the trickery of the untenable demands that the DA makes on the basis of this proposition of the government of national unity. The ANC itself has made this question complex when it should not be complex. The ANC needed to set up a minority government and lead this country anew. On that basis, that's the point, and that's a critical question, this one. The crisis in this country, economic crisis, unemployment, inequality, is driven by the economy, which is a capitalist economy, of which the DA is a primary inheritor of this particular politically, of this crisis that society is facing. But to the extent that it is still embraced in this form, also tells the character of the ANC itself. But nonetheless, we are not changing our position. Our position remains clear. We should not be working with them. But if we have embraced the government of national unity through government or through the ANC, certainly because of the material effects of the elections. We cannot do otherwise. We have to work with them, but we reject the demands that they are making on the basis that they are part of the government of national unity.
So one thing about the alliance as well is that what worked within the alliance was that the ANC was said to be the leader of the alliance. Of course, there have been calls made around the configuration of the alliance. And being leader of the alliance, they were also the government of the day, having the majority of the vote. They no longer have the majority of the vote. Does this mark the end of the alliance, do you think?
No, if the ANC shifts right-wing, for instance, on the basis of its relationship with a class party like the DA, which is purely a bourgeois party, so to speak, or a part of bourgeois interest, even if when it plays in the political space, it will mobilize every other person, but primarily its ideology of business, not even just a petty business, which sometimes has confused majority of black business in this country. It's a corporationist party. It represents the interest of monopoly capital, which remains the strategic enemy of our revolution and of our people. So on that particular basis, there's no need. If the ANC shifts and make choices of that nature, certainly the character of the alliance itself will change. But the ANC has retained majority in these elections. We may have lost to cross the 50% plus mark in order to set up government without necessarily having to get a coalition government or a concept of government of national unity. But it doesn't mean that the ANC remains less influential. No one can set up government in this country, certainly, at the moment.
Well, the ANC is less influential, Mr. Mapaila, if you consider that the ANC now has to have negotiations with the political party like the Democratic Alliance that you described as neoliberal. It is not as influential as it was. Okay.
No, I disagree completely.
Okay.
It's not that it's less influential. The point is that there are options here. And this is the trickery that the DA managed to also influence the media to look into this option as the only option. It is not the only option working with the DA. I think that's the fundamental point. There are many other options, and we can set up government without the DA per se.
Then why do you think the ANC has fallen for that trickery?
No, ask the ANC themselves. They'll tell you
but as an alliance partner, why do you think the ANC has fallen for the trickery? What's your observation?
I can't explain for them. I can't explain for them. It's not the trickery comes from the DA. This is what we are condemning so that they don't fall to it. But those questions, you should pose them to the ANC. I can talk for them. We have expressed our own views. Even in our alliance meetings, we have indicated our positions in this regard. There are easier options, not complicated options. But they've opted for this option to go with this right-wing party, disrespectful party, that actually shows its racist thrust on every corner that it takes in the concept of negotiations. They negotiate in bad faith at all.
Okay, so as you indicated a bit earlier on, of course, some of your members have dual membership of the SACP as well as the ANC, and some would make it into cabinet. I don't know if the ANC has confirmed anything to the SACP as yet, whether any of your members will be part of the cabinet this time around as well, considering that the ANC would have less ministries if they go the government of national unity route. Have you had any conversations with members of the SACP about if they are appointed to the cabinet, what is expected of them?
Adrian, nothing changes at the moment in terms of alliance relations. So you'll remember we campaigned for the African National Congress. Our views are embedded within the African National Congress. That is our political interest. And therefore, that exercise should be in consultation with the Communist Party. But to the extent that we are debating names at the moment, no, it's not an issue. The issue is to set up government. And that's why we've said the president must set up government, must move ahead and set up government. If the DA, for instance, wants to withdraw from the government of national unity, so be it. In fact, it will be favorable for us in order to allow us to tackle primarily programmatic issues, the land question in this country, which we had started a long time campaign as the Communist Party than any other political party in this country post-1994. We can tackle fundamentals, the question of speedy implementation of the national health insurance, and many other critical questions facing our people, universal basic income grant, and tackle poverty properly without necessarily using the state as a framework for creating business.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Mapaila is the General Secretary of the SACP. And with that said, just remember as well that the ANC has been in government since 1994. So should it bear some of the responsibility when it comes to the lack of land restitution in this country?